What has impacted my experience of early childhood education was my third grade teacher. In her classroom, it was very easy for me and my peers to feel comfortable amongst each other and with her. She was willing to help us, even if this meant reteaching learning concepts or giving us extra help in a certain topic that we struggled with. With her having such a welcoming and inviting persona, it was easy for us as a class to be comfortable around one another and be exactly who we were and to know it was okay that we had differences. My goals in my classroom. This has shaped my views of early childhood education by making it a personal goal of mine to make sure my students feel the same way about me as I did about my third grade teacher. I want my students to be able to be themselves and feel comfortable enough to ask for help. This is important to make my students feel comfortable in their classroom because this is their space and their learning environment. This is much more than just the environment that I offer through my persona, but this also means the surroundings the children have in their classroom. It's necessary that they feel comfortable so that they can be more prone to learning new information and feel more at ease when at school. This is also necessary if the students need help. They won't be too afraid or too ashamed to come ask for help because they know that I will be willing to help them with whatever they need to succeed. Students watching me develop positive social relationships with not only themselves and their peers but also their parents will show them how to create positive relationships properly among themselves so that we can be a stronger classroom unit. Communication and language, teacher to student. Teachers talk often and warmly with every child, getting to know the children, building positive relationships with them, and gathering information about their interests and abilities. By communicating properly and warmly with your students, it will make them feel as though their opinions and feelings matter. This is also important to make sure one-on-one connections are made so they don't feel that as teachers we only see them and address them as a group. Along with this, it will show that you truly do care about your students and give them multiple opportunities throughout the day to speak. Teacher-to-parent communication is one of the most important elements within a classroom. There needs to be a strong and open communication window between the two, and there needs to be multiple ways for the teacher to contact parents and vice versa. Teachers' communication with parents is vital for the student's success. The teacher can tell the parent how the student is performing, if there are any behavioral issues, or even if it's just to help the parent understand how to help their child at home. This will help the parent warm up to the teacher. If any issues occur, the parent will be comfortable enough to speak to the teacher. If teachers have a good relationship with the students and their parents, the students will learn how to develop positive relationships. Fostering positive relationships. Teachers are warm, caring, and responsive. They help children learn how to establish positive, constructive relationships with others. They support children's forming of friendships and provide opportunities for them to play and work together. This staff requirement is two-pronged. From one way, I'm looking into how to have a relationship with each individual student, which ties into the communication and language requirement. Majority of adults, including teachers, will talk upon children and more or less tell them what they want them to do. They won't really listen to what the children are saying. On the contrary, what I want to do is show my students that I'm a very caring teacher. From the other perspective, I'm looking into how I can set up my classroom to enforce that I'm supporting their individual relationships with each other by working and playing together, which will also lead to the support of forming new friendships among my students. Building a classroom community. Peer interaction is common in the classroom, and teachers provide many opportunities for children to work together. Children often solve problems or engage in activities in small groups or with partners. Even whole group instruction is usually interactive. When possible, teachers encourage students to assist peers and may set up situations free of pressure where peer models or scaffold skills to others. Children learn to respect individual and cultural differences, and they acquire important skills and knowledge to enable them to function in society. Teachers bring each child's home culture and language into the shared culture of the school so that the children gain a sense of belonging and form a positive self-identity. Through literature and social studies, teachers help children understand values such as respect for others, equality, and personal freedom, and impact of biases in society of groups of people. Setting up the classroom will give the students the opportunity to be able to work together when building relationships. I would seat my students at tables and groups, which would be beneficial to them because I would set them in groups where skill levels in each subject may not be equal, so the opportunity for peer-to-peer help would be possible, and they would be able to rely on this strategy more than always feeling they have to come to me for assistance. This will also help them build relationships that we're looking to build in the classroom. The students will often spend time in the majority of the areas in the classroom, such as the play area or the library. It's very important that these materials are close to those that they may have at home to achieve the maximum amount of comfort for them. For example, during project day and the observation, the classroom that I was in had a large library selection, having books on multiple topics where at least one would pique the interest of each student. The area itself was welcoming and had a couch so the students could get comfortable as they read. Unfortunately, I was unable to take pictures of the classroom I was in, but the one provided was similar to what the classroom library looked like. In the play area, I would have items such as a kitchen set or a cash register, so when they play together, they can play games such as restaurant or house, providing them more opportunities to play with others. However, there would be the options for games and activities that students could do by themselves. I would also allow my students to personalize their space in the classroom, such as their cubbies or their desks. I like the idea of the bucket with the picture on it, and I think the students would enjoy this too. The big name tag on their cubby also helps them find their cubbies quicker, instead of just assigning the students a cubby number, making them feel that that's all they are. Likewise, the desk would have a personal name tag with their name on it, but they could draw or color it however they would like. Also in my class, we will all accept how beautiful individuality is, and I'll make sure my students know that it's something to be celebrated and not ashamed of. Appropriate curriculum is very important to make sure the students are learning the appropriate level of materials and building on skills that will help them in both the near and far future. For example, I want to teach first grade students, so I would make sure my main focus on math lessons were a part of the criteria that falls in the Ohio's Learning Standards for Mathematics, such as solving addition and subtraction problems, understanding place value, knowing how to tell and write time. I would also make sure that all my students are able to keep up with what is being taught and offering assistance so that no child feels left behind if they do not understand something or struggle with a certain concept. Teaching strategies is all about activity and grouping and making things stick. I would either teach it as a whole group or split group activities. To get the students more comfortable with one another, I would make sure that they are capable of working in small groups together. Younger children have a shorter attention span, so I would make sure my teaching methods involve their interests as much as possible and teach in the funnest way I know how. This could vary from activities such as a coloring math worksheet, where anything that equaled 6 would be colored red and anything that equals 2 would be colored blue. I would try to incorporate songs into my lessons or fun educational videos to introduce lessons, conclude them, or further expand on the lesson that has already began. I would also make sure I practice scaffolding, and the further along in the school year we would get, I would want my children to depend on me less. I would want to watch their knowledge and skills over the school year grow so that a child who would constantly ask for reassurance at the beginning of the school year would be independent and confident enough to turn in an assignment and complete it on their own. Guiding strategies. Teachers promote children's development of respect for others, conscious and self-control through positive guidance techniques involving children establish clear and reasonable rules for social living and conflict resolution, enforcing consistent consequences for unacceptable or harmful behavior, and meeting with an individual child having problems or with the child and parents together to discuss solutions. Teachers keep misbehavior in perspective, recognizing that every infraction does not warrant attention and identifying those that can be used as a learning opportunity. Educational. Teachers offer opportunities that promote initiative, cooperation, and other pro-social behaviors, perseverance, task orientation, and self-regulation by providing many engaging activities, encouraging individual choices, allowing ample time for children to complete work, and ensuring numerous opportunities for one-on-one time with the teacher or with close friends. At the end of the quarter for each school year, I would want to have a parent-teacher conference to go over the progression of each student with their family. This would help me better understand the child's home environment, and this would help the parent better understand the teaching environment, and the parent and teacher could help each other understand more about the child and that child's particular needs. Giving the option to parents to become a room parent to help out in the classroom would help them get a hands-on experience that could help the parent further understand what goes on in a classroom and break down any stereotypes or concerns that the parent may have. Take-home folders are a great way for teachers to communicate with parents and families. This could be as simple as being their nightly homework folder that the parent has to sign every night once all the assignments have been completed. This would also be where any behavioral slips go, so parents would know how the student is behaving on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, and they wouldn't have to wait to discuss any issues in the classroom until the parent-teacher conferences. The parents would also be able to write notes back to the teacher as well, indicating anything that the teacher may need to know.